Record. Okay, welcome team. We have decided to break down our process into three specific phases. Phase one is discovery. Phase two is account setup. And phase three is execution. So just so you're aware, when we begin the process, obviously the sales process happens. Once the salesperson has finalized the contract, the first step for them is to fill out the sales onboarding document. It's a pretty comprehensive document that will go over a lot of detail for the client in and of themselves. Now, this is not an interview with the client. This is submitted by the sales team, which is why it's extremely important that we have the next step, which is the discovery questionnaire sent to the client. It'll be a good comparison between what the interpretation of the salesperson thought and what the client actually wants, and we can cross-compare that to make sure that the goals, objectives, expectations are aligned as we go through that process. So let's just walk through really briefly what this looks like, and I'll have Tyler jump in and help me share and talk about some different things inside of this. But first, we have the sales onboarding document. The sales onboarding document is submitted to the chief operations person, chief operations officer, whoever's playing that role. Once that person receives the sales onboarding document, the responsibility for that person is to create two emails. One is external communication with a welcome email that's created and sent. And Tyler, where is that hosted currently?
It's just me personally. I personally take the client information and send down a welcome to the SSP, introductory email that talks to them about the points and next steps to get to account setup.
Can we set that up as a template?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just save that as a template, and then it'll be easier for you to streamline that process, fill in the links, and go from there.
Oh yeah, I've got the template internally. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have this welcome email that's sent out. The number one thing we want to make sure is that we make an introduction. This is the first pass off from the salesperson to the chief operations officer to the account managers to the ads managers and to the access manager. Now, all three of you will play an intricate role in making sure that the phase two account setup is set up appropriately. Now, so that's the external communication. The internal communication will be a new project alert that's sent to the account manager, access manager, and ads manager. It will include the sales onboarding document so you can review that information. Once that information is submitted to the client, then they will fill out the rest of the information. Now, once this is submitted as well to you, the internal communication, it is the responsibility of the access manager to go in and create the Google folder, and all the folders that are associated with that specific client Google folder. And we have a templated folder that you can just copy and paste. The Slack channel, the Basecamp channel, as well as the Minter app for tracking time. Those are all responsibilities of the access manager. Once the access manager has fulfilled that component and Tyler has sent the discovery questionnaire to the client, we will wait for the client to respond to the discovery for at least 2 days. If the client doesn't respond within those two-day time frame, then we'll have another email sent out to make sure that they are filling that out. Now, it is the responsibility of the access manager at the same time to connect with the client, to set up a Zoom meeting, to go and do a screen share, monitor screen share, so that we can go in and get all the access points that we need. Now, Ty, do you want to talk about the specific accesses that we need there?
Yeah, during that point, the role of the access manager is to also get access to the client's Facebook page, Facebook Ads Manager, Facebook Business Manager. The access manager will help set up the necessary pixels for Google Analytics, as well as the Facebook ad campaign that we'll be running. And finally, last but not least, they're also in charge of ensuring that the appropriate payment method on file is synced with Facebook Ads Manager, as well as our internal collections.
Yes, that's a great point, because at the time of the discovery questionnaire being sent, the invoice is also sent at that point for them to pay that invoice to get the process started. Now, the other things that we would like to get access to in connection, in addition to that, are the Google Analytics as well as their website. As the access manager, if your responsibility is to place a pixel on the website, we need to make sure we have login credentials to the website to place that pixel appropriately inside of their page, which can help begin the process of tracking activity or tracking visitors to that site. So that's the beginning, phase one discovery, transitioning to phase two access setup or account setup. Again, is the access manager's roles, responsibilities. Immediately after that access is finalized, the discovery document is submitted and the sales onboarding document are all submitted. You need those three things before you have your kickoff call. So the kickoff call will constitute the account manager and the ads manager, and once in a while, or if necessary, a salesperson to come on and make that transition. This process of transitioning from discovery to account setup, from the sales all the way to the account manager, should be done in natural progression. But if there's complexities in making that connection, or if there's a struggle in making that connection, then don't hesitate to bring the salesperson on board to make that introduction, or if you feel that that's necessary. So the kickoff call, then, the purpose of the kickoff call is to review the discovery questionnaire, to review the agenda of what the next steps are in terms of phase three executions, to review the budget, as well as screen share and find out if there's anything else that needs to be evaluated before we go into strategy planning. Now, the reason we want the account manager and the ads manager both on this is now that we've reviewed this documentation, then we can begin the process of building a strategy plan. Now, in connection with this as well, your job is not just to capture the sales onboarding, discovery, and access and do nothing with them. We want you to prepare a document, and we have a program called Vendasta where you can actually do a digital assessment of where they're at. We expect you, before you get on that kickoff call, to reach out to the access manager and for the access manager to create that document for you as well.
Yeah, so honestly, Ryan, the goal here is to have those three documents or those 3 points in a nice and tidy order, as well as that optional fourth of the scorecard. So you'll have a sales onboarding document, you'll have a discovery questionnaire, you'll have approval from the access manager that they've done everything that they need to get the project rolling, and you'll have an optional Vendasta scorecard regarding the client and their social background to be able to schedule and execute that kickoff call and strategy plan.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that roadmap, my friends, is it gives a scorecard as to where they are inside of their organization currently and from a digital platform perspective. So now you can take that and say, here are the growth metrics that we want to focus on so that we can grow and scale your business. Because our core, as we've talked about before, our core focus is we help companies grow by leveraging innovative technology or innovative marketing solutions, right? So as you're compiling this, my friends, we want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence. This is your first chance to make a good impression. And if you're coming into this with ums and ahs and maybes and I don't knows, then you're not in the right place to make sure we're setting a great expectation for the clientele base. Right? This is your first impression to really make an impression. So once we have all of that information, the best thing we can possibly do is begin phase 3 of execution. Now that you've talked with the clients, you've had this kickoff call, that's where you go back with the account manager, the ads manager, and you put together a 30, 60, and 90-day game plan. And we'll create another video that talks more about what that looks like in detail. But this is your place to start building campaigns and strategies for the client for 30, 60, and 90 days. Now, that's extremely important to understand, right? We're not just going for it'll take the next 14 days to launch to get the first ad product out. We want to keep a long-term perspective, 30, 60, 90-day game plan in place so that we can execute at a higher level. So think about that, and the strategy plan, again, is for you and the ads manager to come together to start to build those campaigns and prepare. Now, when you go into the next step, which is the strategy roadmap review and create with the client, this is where you have ads created, prepared, so that you can have, or let me rephrase that. We don't want ads created. We want campaigns created, ideas behind campaigns based on all the information you've pulled. We want to build some campaigns where you can review and create this with the client. So again, this is a 14-day, 30, 60, 90-day campaigns built out and ready so that you can review the roadmap with your clients and basically set the next 90 days up and ready to go. Once you get that review and get approval from those clients, then the ads manager goes back and creates the ads themselves. What I want you to do, I don't want you to build the ads in a Word document or a Google Doc. I want you to build the ads inside of Facebook's ad campaign, Instagram's ad campaign, take a snapshot of that, place that on a Google Doc so that that Google Doc can be submitted to the client. Then from there, then you're doing the final strategy approval with the client. This will be for the 14-day and the 30-day. So this is, again, this is for the 14-day approval and the 30-day approval, the first touch point. And then again, we'll go into more details on what the 60, 90-day game plan looks like, but we need you to create ads for the next 14 days up to the end of that month, or wherever you are in that month, for the next 30 days, as well as the next 60 days. But the approval will be, the very first approval in your execution is going to be for 14 and 30 days. And then in 15 days, we want you to follow up with that client, review the ads that happened for the first 14 days. And that's when you're going to submit your game plan for the 30, 60, and 90-day game plan. I know there's some changes that are happening here. We're trying to simplify this. One of the complexities that we run into in our business is that we're building ads and they need to be up and live in 2 or 3 days. We need to get away from that. We need to get away from the reactive nature of building ad product because we make way too many mistakes in that process. We need to be ready to launch 30, 60, 90 days in advance so that the ad product is sufficient. We have time for the content writers to review those. We have time for the ads managers to review those. We have time for the management team to review those if necessary. We also have time for the graphic designer to put together the graphics and the assets appropriately to run the ad product.
So honestly, Ryan, I think basically what you're saying is that when you're having the strategy plan review meeting with the client on an ongoing basis, there needs to be a little bit more high-level discussion and execution of 30, 60, 90-day review, build out, and approvals rather than this monthly cycle that we're in of 30 days. It needs to start expanding that and getting approval from the client as quickly as we can in more of a long-term aspect so that we're not waiting on the client to be able to roll out and execute our ad strategies.
That's exactly right. Because the complexity we're running into, again, we're reactive. And then when we have ads up that are wrong because of time constraints, then it looks bad on us. It looks bad on you as an account manager. It looks bad on you as an ads manager. It looks bad on us as a whole. And that's not the impression that we want to make. So that's the new process, my friends. Very straightforward. We've reviewed this document. From here on out, this is what the process will be. We'll build another more information in terms of what that 30, 60, 90-day game plan looks like. After our next account management meeting, I'm going to have conversations with each one of the account managers, and then we'll build that out so there's clarity, and then we'll move forward with that. So thank you. This is great progress, more clarity, more precision in what we're talking about, and that's what we need to do to streamline these processes. So,
and Ryan, if I can add one final point there, if you do have any questions or clarification, I would recommend that you pop a quick message on Slack so that we can track that and have that trackable for future documentation.
Yeah, and I want to just emphasize that the reason that we're using Slack is for everyone to see what's happening with clients. Right? So if you have a question about a client, throw it in Slack. Don't send a text message because then it gets lost in the ecosphere of media, right? Anything that happens, any questions you might run into, any concerns that you might run into as we're building out these 30, 60, 90-day game plans, we'll start aligning some of those channels in Slack to your Google Drive. So when a 30, 60, 90-day plan is created, there'll be an update inside of Slack that shows that. And in Basecamp both. We'll just set up a Zap so that happens appropriately. So anyway, thanks guys. I appreciate your attention to detail in terms of this, and let's move forward. Bye for now.
See ya.